Hey everybody, welcome back to Sabal, King of Texas. My name's Tom, and I've done some other videos here recently. I did a video where I showed you guys how to germinate Sabal seeds, and I wanted to do a video today, something a little bit different. I wanted to do a video on how we pack them. I actually haven't done a video on potting them up, which I need to do. I'll do that in the spring once we're getting our stuff all potted up. But this video is going to primarily focus on how do I get these palms from this, and how do I get them to your house? People are a little concerned about, getting palms shipped to their house. Can they make it? Are they going to live? There's all kinds of methodologies people like to ship. Some people will only ship in the dirt in pots. Some people will only ship either bare root, which is basically just the roots, as it sounds, wrapped in paper. And some people ship a little bit in between. So I've shipped a couple, easily over 1,000, 2,000 palms at this point. Haven't lost a single one, and I feel like I got this down. I've learned a lot of things, so let's get into it, and I'll show you how I actually pack these things live. So number one, we're going to start with, this is a Sabal minor. This is from Lewisville, Texas. Part of this is when you know your palms rather, as I do. I'd like to think I know all my palms by the root sizes and all that kind of stuff. So I pack, I pot, I pack, I ship, I deal with these things all day. And they turn into your kids almost. So I know this Lewisville minor. I've taken pictures of other ones I've transplanted. I know that when I peel this away and I pull all the dirt away, this entire nursery bag is full of roots. This thing, for some reason, is a really fast grower. It's got a massive root system. So that being said, this one I'm going to ship in the bag, or in the pot rather. I'm not going to mess with it. I know better than that. So how am I going to do that? And I'll show you here. So number one, these things have some water inside of this pot. The dirt is a little moist to obviously get this plant through the drive, if you will, or the plane ride. I'll give it a little bit more. I have an assistant over here, as you can see. But I'm going to put just a little bit of water in there, not a lot at all. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ship this thing in its nursery bag. I'm going to give it a nice little layer of saran wrap at the bottom. And I've learned, this is a secret, but you guys may know this. This packing a saran wrap, this stuff is like the greatest invention since, I don't know, this stuff's amazing. So this is what I do. I put this on the bottom, our saran wrap, so that it keeps the water out of my box, and then I wrap it. I go around. The only time I'm going to do anything liberally is I'm going to wrap and wrap and wrap. I'm going to get to the top. I'm going to wrap one side over, and at this point I go down to the bottom. I get a layer of this, and then I go over here and I wrap this where I haven't gotten yet. So like right there. I'll go down again, go the opposite way, and I'll go back to where I haven't gotten. Basically create this really nice waterproof, if you will. The dirt doesn't fly out the top. And I just wrap it really, really good. I use a lot of this wrap, and for anybody who's a customer, you've received our palms, you know exactly what I'm doing here. So this palm is now wrapped, it's good to go. And in the next video, I'm actually going to show you how we pack these in the box. But this video is gonna only focus on how I wrap them for transport. So that's number one. I'm gonna put this over here so our chicken doesn't go and eat it. So that's number one. When I ship things in nursery bags, they look like that. This palm as well this is a 3-year-old in Louisiana. And this one I know also, just by having a lot of these palms, I know this thing has a root system. So I am going to, I'm going to ship this in the nursery bag. And before I do anything, I'm going to go grab a marker and I'm going to label these. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. The one thing, again, as I mentioned, I try to label everything so that everything you get is accurate from the time I germinate it to the time that I ship it, I grow it, I do everything. I do a meticulous job of making sure things are what they are. So as I said earlier, I'm going to ship this guy in the pot as well. I don't want to disturb his roots. I know my palms. And so this is Louisiana from here in Little Elm, Texas, just down the road. And as I said earlier, this is plain old saran wrap, just regular plastic wrap. Doesn't have to be anything special. I'm gonna put this onto here, and I am going to, I love how our chicken friend over here doesn't even care. She's completely happy and content. I'm gonna give it just a little bit of water. Not a lot, just enough to kind of get it through the ride. It might come off the bottom a little bit, but as I said, give it just a good upward push like that.
That's the reason for the plastic, right?
That's the reason for the plastic, to keep the water off the bottom. And that's why I go over it a couple times as I seal the top off. So just like before, just make sure the top of our saran wrap is up. Keep the water out of my box. I don't want this box to get crushed because it's wet and it goes and shows up to your house and it completely falls apart. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. You don't want that. The USPS will hate me even more than they already do. So, just like earlier, kind of go like this. Do as good of a job as I can to pack it like that. I'll go underneath and reinforce our saran wrap, and then pack it like this again. And now I have a really good seal. I do like to ship palms like this, I'm not gonna lie, because I get my packing done super quickly. I'll show you the next ones. They won't go as fast because I'm gonna have to actually, I'll show you my trick, or my other method of packing, if you will. So here's our Louisiana Little Elm, all nice and tight, all bundled in. A little bit of water in the bottom, no problem. It's got plenty of layers. So there's two. And come back in the next video. I'll show you why and how I'm going to anchor these guys in. How I'm going to take these four and fit these into a single box to my customer who's getting his palms tomorrow morning. So, all right. Why do I have paper towels? You're probably wondering. Like, why are these here? Well, I'm going to show you. So, as I mentioned earlier, some people only ship in nursery, or in pots rather. I grow everything we grow is in nursery bags, and then once I graduate to like a 3-gallon, then it'll go into a 3-gallon. But these things can grow in these tall nursery bags. These are like, I think our latest ones I use are 14 inches tall. I mean, they're tall. There's a lot of room for roots. But this is a palmetto. This palmetto, its parents were here in DFW, cold hardy palmetto. So, how am I going to get this guy not in a nursery bag, not in a pot? How am I going to wrap this guy? I'll tell you right now, I don't ship anything completely bare root. I always ship with dirt, and I'll show you how I do it. So number one, I take this, and these nursery bags, once I use them, they're kind of dispensable to me, so they're cheap enough. So what I do is take it, and I'll just tear this nursery bag. And you'll notice, like, my ability to do this and how to do this as well as I do this. Again, I mentioned I don't lose palms in shipping, packing or shipping or transport or anything. You'll see that I kind of have learned to do this. You know, just like everything else here, people, it comes with a lot of experience. I've shipped thousands of these palms. I know how to handle them. I know how to ship them and all that kind of stuff. So that's garbage. So what do we do now? You got to be really careful because the pot will try to separate. And if I let go and don't hold it all at once, the bottom part of my root is going to be garbage. So what I've learned to do is, I've learned to be really careful in loosening up everything. Loosening everything up. I mean, being super careful. And again, if I were to ever actually break my main roots, I would never ship this to a customer. I would go grab another one and either refund it or get them a new one. But you just kind of have to super carefully break all of this apart. And you're gonna see it's got a really nice root system here. These palmettos don't go as fast, I've noticed in general. So, as I mentioned earlier, here's a grub. Check this out. Best snack ever. Here, hey you, hey.
Just put it on the ground in front of her, or not. Yeah,
Look at this, watch this. Come on. If you're wondering why she's actually limping, she's recovering from an injury that she had in the chicken run. Anyways, so what you'll notice is, the more I do this, the more the root's exposed. But again, just gotta be careful, really, really careful. And if you lose some of the smaller roots like these, it's not a big deal. That main taproot, that's where its life is. So now, I preach the concept of reusing as much as possible. So this guy has lived in this dirt for 2.5 years. And I'm gonna take that dirt, I'll use a little bit of it here to ship, I'll show you how. The rest is gonna go right back in our compost pile. So, here's this palm. Now, you were wondering why do I have paper towels? So what I do is, some people will take this and ship a bare root palm. Maybe it's okay, I don't know. I've never done it that way. But early on, when my palms were between 1 and 2 years old, I had a lot of people who appreciated the fact that I can get palms cheap and I can get them shipped to your house for like $5 or $6. And people were very, very happy to get their seedlings for cheap in a small little Amazon box. How did I do that? It's the way I'm going to show you now. It's changed a little bit because these are now getting larger. I mean, they used to only be down to about here. Now you can see it has a pretty good root system. So what I do is, I put it at the base of the palm. I'll do it like this. And what you'll notice is that I'm going to take some dirt, put some dirt just like this. And what's kind of interesting is, these roots don't like to bend, but I've noticed that when you put some dirt around them, they have a lot more give. So I'll make sure it's all surrounded, all nice and tight. I'll go like this, wrap her up all nice and good. Now, what am I gonna do? Well, now you're gonna see my other tool that I've had this entire time. How was that grub? It was good? Fantastic, look at that. So I'm gonna take the saran wrap again. This is, when I first began to ship, I never learned about this stuff, this packing wrap. You can buy this at Walmart for like $5 or something. This stuff's super, super cheap. And I just used the saran wrap. And the saran wrap never quite held tight enough. But when I discovered saran wrap and this stuff, I'll show you what this looks like. So, now this dirt is here. I use a little bit of water. You don't have to do too much. Enough to get the paper towel wet. You don't want to make a mess. Perfect, look at that, just enough water. This thing's gonna be enclosed, it'll be in a box. In the summertime, there's plenty of heat, they stay warm. What I'm gonna do is, take our saran wrap, wrap it as best as I can, and just like, if you've ever made a wrap or a sandwich, you wanna kinda pull it together. And it's okay if you lose a little bit of dirt up top. I'll show you how you can go replace that in the future, that's fine. Take the packing wrap. This is where our secret is. This stuff's amazing.
Not so secret.
It isn't a secret anymore, you're correct. But, pick this up. Now, the one thing that does happen periodically is this thing tears at the bottom. It's a pain, but there you go. Okay, so my kids enjoy this and they laugh because I turn this into what they call, what you see on TV, a drug bundle. So I wrap it once, I give it some structure, and if you need dirt on top like this, just kind of take this and you know, add a little bit more. It's okay. It's not a problem at all. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna wrap this. Actually, I usually do it with my other hand. But you're gonna wrap it. That's it. Now, what you'll notice is that I do this the opposite way always. This is not the way I would have done this. But I'll go like this. By opposite way, I mean I would be pulling it, not pushing it. That's just the way I grab this wrap. Not my finest one. Who knew I would not have my finest one when I'm actually showing everybody in the video? Who knew? Always has to be that way. So, you'll see this thing is wrapped super tight, like a drug bundle. Exactly like a drug bundle. What I'm gonna do is I also use, if you have children, you probably have kids Tylenol at your house with a syringe or a dropper. I'll get some water, I'll drop some water into there, and then that will keep it extra moist on top, but it's got water in there. So this one is our palmetto. Okay, and so that one's done, but you can see this is a bundle. It's legit. It's like a drug bundle. They're fantastic. They're hard. They're thick. They're solid. They don't go anywhere. Once you reinforce them inside of the box, they don't go anywhere. So, what do we got next? So this is, as a grower, if any of you guys are growers out there and watching, you probably have this happen to you all the time. This isn't a bad thing. But how many times do we pot up palms and 6 to 12 months later, 2 years later, you notice that you have twins. So this is a Sabal urasana. This is a green form of urasana. I love this palm. What am I going to do? I am going to obviously ship this thing in the same manner that I did the other palm. But what I need to do is I need to pot this guy up. So, yeah, sorry, my little daughter. So, what am I going to do? So I'm going to take this exactly how I did last time, and I'm going to be just careful. And I'm going to very, very carefully. And you'll if you're a grower, you'll begin to learn at like what level of these nursery bags, this whole concept of the separation, if you will, where it splits into two. You'll notice when that stops and where it begins. So this bag is trash. All right, so as I separate this, I just continue to separate this just like I did the other one. You kind of want to push on all sides, and you just be nice and careful. You can even turn it and rotate it. If your compost is like soft compost, this will come apart easier. This particular pile of dirt is like my lousiest type of dirt. This is really hard, nasty stuff. But what you'll see is this is going to go out to my customer. And these roots being really long, it's not a problem. These can bend and flex and stuff like that. I can put this in the paper towel. I will tell you, if anybody out there does grow Tamaulipas, I've noticed Tamaulipas, I've stopped, just like our Louisville miner over there, I've stopped shipping outside of the whole nursery bag. Because, I'm not kidding, the roots are like, I've literally had to put 2 or 3 of these long form, and it's a mess. They're very, very big roots. So I'm going to repot this guy. I'm not going to send this to my customer. This is a tiny little dude. So I'm going to pot this guy back up into this big old nursery bag over here. Let him keep growing. And we are going to get this guy out to my customer. So what am I going to do? Same thing as last time. But what you'll notice is like you don't have damage here. And Sabals, again, I've shipped thousands of these. They don't have a problem when you do this. You can sit here and touch these roots all you want. Some palms, people freak out. that you can't touch them, you can't look at them, you can't think about them, you can't do anything. Sabals, by and large, as long as you don't break the main root, they're totally cool. So, again, I'm gonna go position him how it was. And what you notice is the main taproot is this big white one that is now covered up, but not these little ones. Like, you can't take the taproot, its main growth stem, and curve it around. But you can those other ones, and those are fine. It's just the main one you don't want to cause issues with. And as I said, I don't ship bare root, but I don't ship in pot always. But this is close enough. What you'll notice is we'll take it, do the same thing I did last time. I mean, literally the exact same formula. I've gotten into a rhythm in doing this. I even know exactly what I have to put where to hold things down, all that stuff. So I'm gonna label this guy actually on here. I actually do like to use these old tags. I reuse everything, guys. I reuse my dirt, I reuse my tags, I reuse our nursery bags if I can. If I'm in a situation where I used to actually take all these palms and pull them out of the nursery bags carefully. Now I'm at the point where they're big and I don't want to mess with them. But our theme is we try, not only so we don't have a lot of pollution, because this is all plastic, but just try to reuse what you can. It makes sense from a money standpoint as well. Helps keeps our costs low, or helps to keep our costs down, which allows us to get you people palms for a better price and not have to gouge everybody. So here's this, like before. If I can put anything else extra in here, I do. I can put some more in the end. But again, taking this, wrapping it how we did earlier. And like I said, when I used to just use our saran wrap, because the bottom of the wrap is right about here, water periodically would get out. And that's where I learned this stuff is like a miracle. I'm telling you, this stuff's amazing. You have to learn how to, see, this is how I should have held it earlier. I'm not pulling toward me or pulling away from me. No, toward me, sorry. I'm pulling away. And any dirt that falls off the top, don't worry about it. I'll replenish it. And what you'll notice is this makes packing palms. You see all that open area right there? But this thing now is really like strong and stable. Allows me to do this. Man, anybody who's ordered my palms, you've probably, if you've ordered from me over the years, you've seen that I've grown quite a bit in like how I do this stuff. I'm pretty proud of our shipping and stuff like that now. We've learned a lot, but even back when I was completely amateur, we still shipped our palms, never had any transport issues. But what you'll notice is this is gonna, this packing wrap, oh yeah, whoops, see? I forget stuff here periodically. But this packing wrap is cheap, does not cost a lot of money. So I make it nice and tight. It's gonna show up to your house as safe as could be. You could take this thing and look, toss it around. This palm ain't going anywhere. So I got this order of 4 packed up, or wrapped up, sorry. And now we're gonna come over here and we're gonna see if I have enough dirt in here. And if I do, that's good. If not, I'll go and top it off with what I need in the garden. So this is gonna be a Urasana and I can go to somebody else. These are very popular. I don't have a ton of these. I'm growing a lot more of them. And I'm just gonna, this is a stout one. Oh wow, it's got a big old taproot there. So you can kind of bend these taproots, or these long roots in wrap if you want to. Or as you pot them, sorry, not in wrap. But I'll make sure this thing stays at the top of this of this nursery bag and pat it down. You'll see it still kind of moves around a little bit. It's because it needs some more dirt. And, you know, it's pretty hard to bury these, to be honest with you, because this will go and settle over time, I've learned. I potted with less, and then half a year later, I'm like, man, I wish I would have put an inch more of dirt. So don't be afraid to add some dirt. I know that's not what this actual video is about, but when it has some good stability, then you're good. All this stuff will eventually, I like to push it down a little bit too. So I got some good structure, if you will. All right, this guy is ready to go. Okay, so that's how we solve a couple of problems. One, how do we wrap them for shipping? Two, what happens when you encounter another one? This, I want to tell you, I'd like to say this doesn't happen all that often. It happens all the time. I'm separating, I have some out there that have 4 or 5 or 6 in a single tall nursery pot. So it happens. I get more palms, I guess, huh? I can ship more. So come back, like this video, subscribe to our channel. If you're a customer, I appreciate every single one of you. Come back. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how these are going to get into a box, how they get wrapped, and we're going to box this order up, leave it on my front door, live together, and it's going to go out the door tomorrow. So thanks for joining. I appreciate everybody.